The United States has committed $175 billion to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia since February 2024. This massive sum, part of 5 separate bills, includes $60 billion as part of a broader $95 billion package that also assists Taiwan and Israel. For Ukraine, this money represents far more than financial aid. It's a lifeline in a fight for survival. Some of that funding goes toward critical Ukrainian institutions, law enforcement, media, and humanitarian relief, but the vast majority is being used for something much more decisive: weapons. American-made weapons, which many believe could tip the scales in Ukraine's favor, are now flooding the battlefield. This isn't just cash changing hands, it's a calculated effort to ensure Ukraine has the military strength to win. In this video, we will dive into the cutting-edge American weapons that are giving Ukraine the upper hand against Putin's forces. From armored vehicles to advanced artillery, this military aid is making a tangible difference on the ground. One of the war's biggest game changers is the M2 Bradley fighting vehicle, which is a 10-person, 30-ton vehicle with a combination of aluminum and steel armor capable of stopping 30mm ammunition at fairly short range. Built by BAE Systems, the Bradley also has reactive armor capable of stopping a 30mm sabot round in its tracks. These types of rounds are often used to destroy tanks, with their clever design seeing the use of a sabot casing to cover a smaller round to stabilize. Once the sabot round leaves the muzzle, the sabot is sheared, leaving the smaller round inside traveling at speeds of up to 3,500 miles per hour, fast enough to pierce solid metal. The Bradley doesn't get pierced. Better yet, its specially made Bradley reactive armor tiles, BRATs, can even protect it against hollow charge munitions, such as those fired by older anti-tank weapons, and the RPG-7. Throw a 9mm plate onto its belly, and this stunning vehicle also offers its occupants protection against mines. Other essentials that every soldier needs include helmets and body armor. By August 2024, the United States had sent more than 100,000 body armor and helmet sets to Ukraine, with more likely following as the US has approved additional funding in the years since. Many of the original batches of these sets were shipped out by a company called Aspeto, which is led by Abbas Haider, who was featured on Forbes' 2018 list of the most important people under 30 in the manufacturing and industry sector. His company sent 50 pallets of body armor to Ukraine, shipping via southeastern Poland, following receipt of a $4.2 million contract from the State Department to produce the armor. The F-16 is a multi-role fighter that was developed by a consortium between the United States and 4 other NATO members: Norway, Denmark, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The first F-16 took to the skies in December 1976 as a single-seat model, but it served more as a prototype than an active jet. The US did not take the first delivery of this single-seater model in bulk until January 1979, when the first operational F-16 arrived at the Hill Air Force Base in Utah. Lockheed Martin, the main manufacturer of the jet, developed the two-seater model called the F-16B several years later. This version of the jet has tandem cockpits, each roughly the same size as the single cockpit found in the standard F-16. The jet's bubble canopy was extended to cover both cockpits, with Lockheed Martin reducing both the jet's avionics growth space and its forward fuselage cockpit to make room for the second cockpit. Since 1981, every F-16 has had special wiring and structural provisions built into its design to allow for the expansion of its multi-role capabilities. The F-16C and F-16D are the upgraded single and two-cockpit counterparts of the earlier models, which are now deployed in the Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve. Portugal is now part of the consortium that builds F-16s in Europe. Most American-made versions of the plane are built at Lockheed Martin's facility in Greenville, South Carolina. Through its partnerships, Lockheed Martin has built 3,100 F-16s, which are in use in 27 countries. Ukraine can now count itself among those countries, and it hopes to receive far more than the 65 F-16s it has gotten so far if the war lasts into 2025. Ukraine has already lost one of its 65 F-16s, which crashed in late August after successfully shooting down 4 Russian missiles during a concerted Russian missile and drone attack. Possible causes are still being explored, with pilot error and mechanical failure being more likely to blame than a successful Russian missile strike. Lockheed Martin also builds another system that Ukraine has put to great use, the Javelin. According to Statista, Ukraine had received 10,000 anti-tank Javelin systems as of January 2024, the majority of which have been delivered by the US. The Javelin has been in full production since 1994, with Lockheed Martin reaching the milestone of 50,000 units delivered in 2021. The Javelin is a portable fire and forget anti-tank system that can be shoulder-mounted by a single man and takes just a couple of days to learn how to use. It consists of a modular missile and a reusable command launch unit, CLU, that comes packed into a disposable launch tube assembly. The entire warhead is powered by a 2-stage solid propellant design, allowing the missile to fly at speeds of up to 313 miles per hour. Ukraine has made good use of this weapon, building a reputation as a tank killer in an artillery-based war. The US has sent over 200 M777 howitzers to Ukraine, with smaller donations from other countries like Canada and Australia. The M777 is the benchmark for 155mm lightweight towed artillery systems, designed for use by both the US Army and the US Air Force. It is a piece of towed artillery that can be moved via land, sea, or air, making it easier to deploy, remove and redeploy than many similar artillery systems. BAE Systems, the manufacturer of the M777, has sold over 1,200 units so far and recently inked a $50 million deal with the US Army to work with supply chains in both the US and the UK to build the titanium components required to make the weapon. The M777 is made from titanium, making its main body and castings almost 7,000 pounds less than the M198 howitzer it would eventually replace. This lower weight also aids in portability, with a 39 caliber barrel and a range of 15.3 miles when firing unassisted shells or up to 18.6 miles if the shells are rocket assisted. The second version of the howitzer, the M777A2, is capable of firing Raytheon's XM982, also known as the Excalibur, which features a GPS-based guidance system that allows it to travel for up to 24.8 miles while striking a target with 32.8 feet of accuracy. A host of contractors are involved in building a single M777 howitzer, with United Defense Industries handling the final assembly and testing of the product. Ukraine has also been using drones in combat, with the Ukraine war being the first to show the full utility of drones in combat. The US is involved with the Switchblade 300 and Switchblade 600 drones, often dubbed a loitering munitions system. The Switchblade 300s were the first to arrive, with Ukraine's forces starting using the model in spring 2022. The Switchblade 600 is a bigger and heavier drone, weighing 50.7 pounds, but it offers the firepower equivalent of a Javelin anti-tank missile, making it ideal for destroying armored vehicles and tanks. In March 2024, Ukraine revealed that it has the capacity to manufacture 150,000 drones per month on its own, meaning it may have a 2 million strong fleet of drones by the end of 2024. The US has donated several helicopters to Ukraine, including the Mi-17 helicopter, which was initially sent 5 at the beginning of the war and later increased to 20 in April 2022. However, the Mi-17 is not American-made, but rather a Russian design. It is manufactured at 2 factories in Ulan-Ude and Kazan and has larger rotors, a bigger transmission, and a TV-317MT engine originally developed for Russia's Mi-14 chopper. The helicopter has sliding doors on both sides for loading and a cargo ramp at the rear. Its riveted fuselage is made of aluminum alloys and is split into 3 compartments: crew, cargo/passenger, and tail. The Patriot missile defense system, designed by Raytheon, is considered the most advanced air defense weapon in America's arsenal. As of June 2024, Ukraine had only 2 of these systems, one from the US and another jointly donated by Germany and the Netherlands. President Joe Biden approved the deployment of a second system from the US in June, bringing the total up to 3 with 2 more additions from Germany and Romania. The Patriot is far older than many think, having been developed as a concept in 1961 as the Army Air Defense System. The US Army renamed the development program to Surface-to-Air Missile Development, or SAMD, in 1967, and it has undergone significant upgrades since then. The system entered full production in September 1980, with the US Army activating its first Patriot battalion a little under 2 years later. Today, the Patriot missile system is built by Raytheon out of its Massachusetts facility, with Lockheed Martin Missiles and Fire Control creating the missiles from its factory in Florida. The M901 launching station, used for transporting, aiming, and launching Patriot missiles, can hold 4 missiles and be remotely operated via a control station to which it links either via a fiber optic cable or a very high-frequency data link. More recent Patriot systems may also incorporate the modern manned stations, which offers a full-color user interface and LCDs. As of the end of 2023, 18 countries use the Patriot missile system, with Raytheon often working with manufacturers in those countries to streamline production processes. Russia has been heavily using tanks during the Ukraine war, including the M1 Abrams, which Ukraine received in January 2023. However, Russia has also been adept at using drones for maintenance and destruction, resulting in the 31 M1 Abrams tanks Ukraine received being pulled away from the front lines. Ukraine also lost 5 of these tanks as of April 2024, an expensive loss given that each M1 Abrams costs $10 million to make. The M1 Abrams is one of the most advanced battle tanks in the world, manufactured by General Dynamics Land Systems, which builds the tanks for the US Army and the Marine Corps. It has a 1,500 horsepower gas turbine engine and can travel for up to 265 miles at a maximum speed of 42 miles per hour before it needs to refuel. The tank weighs 68 tons and comes equipped with a 120mm smoothbore gun, which is versatile enough to fire several types of ammunition. The most modern version of the tank is the M1A2, which entered production in 1990 and has a range of upgrades over the M1A1 that came before. The Army Tactical Missile System, ATACMS, missile systems may prove most valuable to Ukraine now that it has officially invaded Russian territory with its Kursk incursion. Zelensky constantly pushes the US to allow it to use the ATACMS missiles it has provided on Russian soil. America hasn't given the go-ahead yet, but with the success of the Kursk invasion comes the crossing of another red line, meaning it may not be long before the US is confident enough to allow ATACMS use in Russia. The ATACMS is manufactured by Lockheed Martin and has a missile range of 186.4 miles. It uses an inertial navigation system utilizing GPS for guidance and is compatible with the HIMARS and M270 multiple launch rocket system. Each ATACMS is 13 feet long and can have a launch weight that varies between 3,688 pounds for the Block 1 variant and 2,912 pounds for the Block 1A version. A Block 2 ATACMS was in development around the turn of the millennium, designed specifically as an anti-tank system that could take a many-to-many approach to tackling tanks on the ground. In conclusion, the deadliest weapons and protective gear that the US has sent to Ukraine since February 2022 are Javelin and Patriot, each with its role in helping Ukraine achieve victory over Russia.